You're welcome to this podcast. It's your boy Dave Partner, and today we'll be discussing the latest headlines in the news with respect to Google firing one of their top senior software developers. And in this podcast, I'll be discussing what the guy really said. I'll give you a summary because it's actually a 10-page report that the guy wrote and then sent in an internal memo to all Google employees that got him fired. So it's actually a 10-page report, and I don't think I don't think many people have the time to read through and make sense of what he wrote. But in this podcast, I'll try to explain, give a quick summary of what he wrote. But before we start up, I would like you to see his his profile. Is a Harvard alumni and a senior software developer at Google since 2013. That means he has been in Google for 4 years. He's a scientist at MIT and Princeton. He schooled in the University of Illinois and he graduated with a degree in physics, chemistry, and microbiology. So basically, you can see that this guy is into some biological sciences, you understand. So that forms the background for what he wrote, you understand. He's somebody that did a lot in the biological sciences, as you can see. And I want to show you Google statistics of their employees, so that I'm just giving you a basic background of how this whole thing came about. As you can see, Google employs a lot of Asians, a whole lot. That's 35% Asians. And then they employ whites, 65%, and then the blacks there are less than 2%. And that's the one personally I'm concerned about because I'm a black. So I would like Google to implement programs that will increase the number of blacks. I want blacks to get to like 25%, or if not more, you understand? Because actually in America, blacks make up 14% of the country. So I would like Google to put more effort into upping the number of blacks they have in their employees list. So now, but this particular memo is about the women. As you can see, women has 31%, and as against men that have 69%. Women have 31% presence in Google, and men have 69%. Now, Google is coming up of a lawsuit. There was a lawsuit on Google that accused Google of paying women less than they pay the men that are working in the same role. You know, the way Google does is that they negotiate your salary. Your employer negotiates your salary with you. So women get paid much less than the men. So after they got, in Google, you don't discuss your salary with fellow employees. So, but the company requested that Google have to send them their employee pay sheet for some recent years. And when they saw it, they discovered that the women were earning substantially lower. Let me not use substantially. Let me just say the women were earning lower than the men for the same role. So you have a senior software developer as a guy, and you have a senior software developer as a woman, and one is earning like 200,000 and one is earning like 180,000, something like that. So Google is still trying to sort out that lawsuit before this guy now released his memo. So this guy is a senior developer. His name is James Damore. He's a senior developer in Google since 2013. So what he did recently was write a 10-page memo explaining that women are much better, that basically the women are biologically not disposed to work in tech industries. See how he puts it? More like women empathize more than they systemize. You understand? Basically, he was saying that women are they are more open and directed towards feelings and aesthetics rather than ideas. You understand? Unlike men like to do things, women like to do people. That's what he's saying. So women generally also have a stronger interest in people rather than things relative to men. You understand? Then these two differences in part explain why women relatively prefer jobs in social and artistic areas. More men may like coding because it requires systemizing, and even within SWEs, comparatively more women work on front end, which deals with both people and aesthetics. So basically, this guy is saying that that women do more of things that deal with people and aesthetics. So even when it comes to coding, that most women prefer to go to front end because they're biologically wired to do that, while men are biologically wired to do things, to do code and systemize. Continuing from what he wrote, he said, extraversion expressed as gregariousness rather than assertiveness. Also, higher agreeableness. This leads to women generally having a harder time negotiating salary, asking for raises, speaking up, and leading. He said that women are biologically wired to have higher agreeableness. So when something is happening or there is a discussion, women tend to agree more than men, according to his opinion. He said the result of this is that women have more issues negotiating higher salary. Remember, we said that in the beginning here that Google, your Google employer will try to negotiate a certain salary with you before you come into the company. And then according to him, he said that because women are wired to have higher agreeableness, they tend to accept the first few offers without having to stop by and or stand their ground and negotiate. He said these differences. He said that this thing affects them in negotiating salary, asking for raises, speaking up, and leading. Now, continuing from what he wrote, he said, note that these are just average differences and there's overlap between men and women. But this is seen solely as a woman's issue. This leads to exclusory programs like stretch and swath of men without support. So he said that these things happen, but they don't only happen to women. You understand? But the way Google sees it, according to me, is that it happens only to women. So they have programs that are just for women. You understand? Then continue. He said neuroticism, higher anxiety, lower stress tolerance. This may contribute to higher levels of anxiety, women report on Google Gist, and to lower number of women in high stress jobs. You understand? So basically, he was trying to point out the biological difference between men and women, and that due to some things that a women are more disposed to, the tech workplace does not fully is not fully customized to suit women. Then if you read the full report, he was saying that that some of Google's programs may be misdirected. Google have programs to encourage more women to join the workforce. He said that the programs might be misdirected because they are not actually listening to the root cause of the problems. You understand? That they need to be able to address the root cause of the problem. And he now say that the Google's culture of shaming people victimizes people that try to discuss the root cause of the problem, and even many people who have other opinions are afraid of being fired. That's why they won't raise the opinions. So he's basically saying that Google need to take another look at their programs that are encouraged in bringing up women. All right, and then that's basically the summary of what he wrote. Then he has support on social media. If you go to Twitter just like melted over his issue. And there are women supporting him, a lot of women too. So a woman on Twitter said, as a woman software developer, I couldn't find a single sentence I disagree with in his manifesto. Then another person said, hi Google, why did you fire someone when he said you shut down dissenting voices? Because this guy was basically saying in his memo that Google normally shut down dissenting voices. You understand that they try to shame people who are saying the opposite thing, that there are certain opinions that are generally accepted. So if you have any other contrary opinion, you better keep quiet. That's what the guy was saying in the memo. And then somehow he got fired because when he released the memo, it caused so much debate in Google that people weren't working again. People were basically arguing on front and back. So Google was losing lots of work hours. So Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google that was on vacation, he decided to come back, fly back, cut his vacation short, fly back and address the issue. And then at the end of the day, he got this guy fired. But before then, there was a Paul Crown, the site reliability manager at Google. He said freedom of speech is the right to freely express an opinion it is most assuredly not the right to express an opinion with freedom from consequences. Basically what Idi Amin said. Idi Amin said that freedom of speech is not the same as freedom after speech. You understand? So you can be free to say stuff. At the end of the day, you should be able to bear the consequences of what you said. So there are so many people that from Google that made a lot of statements, but then eventually Sundar Pichai now made his own, send internal memo. So basically, internal memo was flying around in Google. Different managers were flying their own internal memo. Everybody was trying to put the whole issue under control, but then it was spiraling out of control till eventually it leaked to the press. Somebody sent it to the press. That's how the whole world heard about it. So the CEO at Google said to suggest a group of our colleagues have traits that make them less biologically suited to Google's work is offensive and not okay. It is contrary to our basic values and our code of conduct. After that, he got James Damore fired. So guess what? The guy was kind of prepared. That's what I realized, because he didn't just wake up and write it, because he knew he was taking a risk, since he pointed out clearly that Google usually shut down people who have contrary opinions on certain topics, and then that people are afraid to express their opinions because they're afraid to get fired. So he was ready, and then he didn't just make a tweet or a page or a paragraph. He just basically wrote a 10-page report. This guy wrote reports, was putting graphs and everything, and in the description of this video I will put the link to the report, so if you have time you can go through it. Okay, now if you've not subscribed to my channel at this point, this is the point to subscribe. There's a red subscribe button at the bottom of this video, so click on it to subscribe. Now this guy, when he was interviewed, he said, I'm paraphrasing now because this is not exactly how he said it, but this is how he ended it. It was like, my dismissal was illegal. I am exploring all possible legal remedies. So he will go through a legal means. Basically, he will sue Google for firing him. You understand? So that's how the whole issue has been so far. So if there's any updates, be sure that my channel is where you get the first full detail. All right. So if you want to look or glance through the memo, there will be a link at the bottom of this video at the description section. And if you have not subscribed, you're just watching this video, please hit the subscribe button, so that and then once you hit the subscribe button, there's usually a notification icon right beside that button. So after clicking the subscribe button, a notification icon will appeared right beside where you clicked the subscribe button. So click on it so that when next I upload a video, you will get it. If this is your first time of watching any of my videos, I've made hundreds and hundreds of videos, so check my tutorial, my channel, and you'll see so many tutorials that you might like. Thank you very much. Leave your comments in the comment section. I'll be right here to reply you. See you in the next video.